Welcome everyone. The countdown to the union budget has begun. So today on Let's Talk Money, let's explore another aspect of the economy which affects all of us, black money. In the last union budget, the finance minister had declared a war of sorts on black money and promised that tracking down and bringing back wealth which legitimately belongs to our country is our abiding commitment. So let's get the answers to some big questions today. Number one, how successful has the government been in implementing its promise of bringing back money? And some figures say that 635 declarations worth 4,000 or a little above 4,000 crores of illegal wealth were made in the 3-month compliance window which the government opened under the new law, which ended on September 30, 2015. Not the law, but the window. Can the government do more to make black money generation and stashing an almost impossible task for any individual in this country? That's the other big question we're going to ask beyond the two acts which were passed by the parliament in 2015. Joining me today for this special discussion on black money and the union budget are M.K. Venu, founding editor, thewire.in, and also Professor M.V. Rajiv Gowda, spokesperson Congress and Rajya Sabha MP. Gentlemen, thank you very much. But before I come to you, let me set a perspective, a short perspective with my audience to this discussion. Number one, black money, which is undisclosed foreign income and assets and imposition of Tax Act 2015 came into force from 1st July 2015. The bill was introduced in the budget session of 2015. The act provided for a one-time compliance window. So it was a one-time compliance window, July to September 2015, to declare assets held abroad and pay 60% as tax. Now, the deadline for paying taxes plus penalty amount was December 2015. It was promised that no action under Foreign Exchange Management Act of FEMA will be taken against declarations under this one-time black money compliance window. The law also provides for a stringent punishment of about 10 years and seizure of assets even in India if the offender does not declare and does get caught later. And as we said right at the top, 635 declarations worth rupees 4,160 crore of illegal wealth were made in this 3-month compliance window. So, this is just a fraction of black money stashed abroad. The BJP, through an internal study, had originally claimed a sum of $500 billion stashed abroad by Indians, and that's a staggering sum of 34 lakh crore in rupees. All right, I'm going to come to the panelists here. M.K. Venu, I think the first thing, even before we go on to pronounce a judgment on whether this was a successful three-month window or not, if you can just take us through the basic process of what are the big places where black money gets generated and how does it move out of the country? It can't be that easy.
Manisha, there are 2-3 very, very well-known conduits through which black money, money goes out and then it comes back. And this was captured in a 1,000-page report on black money, which is with Jaitley, Finance Minister Jaitley. He's not made it public.
Okay.
It went through that committee which on black money which was created after this government came. Now, one is, Manisha, over-invoicing of import. In the last 10 years, some of the biggest black money, the largest amounts of black money have been generated by over-invoicing imports, infrastructure imports. Simple, $100 worth of import, make it $120.
And stash away 20.
Yeah, 20. And this money, you get it from, it's not even your own money. You borrow from banks.
Okay.
And it's that money which goes out. So you get your industry people openly talk about this. You get your equity free,
Okay.
You take $100 of debt, over invoice imports, $20 equities become free.
Okay. So that's one big way.
That's one big. And mind you, this comes back and also funds political parties. So there is the political system also accepts this. The other big one, in my view, Manisha, is the diamond jewelry trade. Jewelry constitutes, I think, it's among the top 5 trading items in India, right? We import diamonds, rough diamonds, 10-15% value add,
and then export them.
So jewelry, diamond, gold, big sources of black money.
Okay.
Which is why there's so much gold lying in the country. I'm told that the amount of gold lying with households is about 50-60% of India's GDP, right? $1 trillion. Illusion is, it's the domestic money which moves out through these hawala transactions or by over invoicing, etc. And it also comes back because rate of return abroad is very low. So it keeps coming back through the Mauritius route into the stock market. And this was established not now 10 years ago when RBI, SEBI had banned something called overseas corporate bodies investing into stock market. You know, it is very well known.
Okay.
So this keeps this circulation. Therefore, BJP in the first place they resorted to hyperbole when they said $500 billion lying outside. They got a fraction. It was a mockery. 4,000 rupees they got because it keeps coming back through the stock market route. So this is what you have to. The bleeding is happening domestically. You have to stop it here. You know.
You have to stop it here.
And finally, the report that lying with Jaitley, it collates, it totals black money from various sectors, and it including liquor, etc., which they do not want to be part of GST. That's the reason why
we'll come to that later.
So the total amount is about average about 50% of GDP over the last 20 years.
My goodness, 50% of
so $1
India's
trillion
GDP.
is a black economy as per that report.
As per the report itself. Professor Gowda, so would you agree that it's a well-known fact on how black money gets generated? And if it's such a well-known fact, it should be extremely easy to actually plug it at source. Would you agree with that? Yet, none of the governments have been able to do it.
It's the rare government that actually cracks down on black money. For example, Venu just talked about the liquor business. You know, historically, liquor lobbies have funded election campaigns. They've been very influential across the country. However, in Karnataka some years ago, they created a beverages corporation and essentially ended the seconds liquor trade, which was generating a lot of cash. However, there are huge sectors of the economy like real estate where what the official price versus the actual price, there's a huge difference in terms of, and that's the cash component. In, you know, I don't know about everything being black money in this country. There is also a huge informal economy which is run on cash, and that's the other part that, you know, it's like an iceberg. It's a huge component that we don't really see, but that is what oils the economy in a significant way. As Venu pointed out, until we can address the political funding issue and make that more transparent and legal, and possibly even with an element of significant state funding, we are going to see a lot of demand for cash, a lot of demand for black money, and that's not going to go away. So what the government really did with this very stringent law that Jaitley piloted in the last parliament is it was just in some ways a decoy, trying to show that we are going to be strict on black money overseas, when really the bigger challenge is the money, black money that is generated within the country. And the second point is, as I think we will discuss, this whole strict law is actually a very ineffective law, because you know there are 100 other arrangements that need to be worked out with different banks in different countries before you can get the kind of information that you need in order to track people down. And you know, to the extent that I know anything about this, there are also tax havens, and even if you find bank accounts with people's names, the money won't be there. They will money would have been siphoned off to other tax havens and possibly come back to India through to the stock market through P notes and Mauritius and Singapore routes. So it's a very complicated process. It's not that people are unaware. It's just that the political system doesn't have the will to truly deal with it in the way it needs to be.
Do you agree it was a decoy, or do you think it was well intentioned, but they just set themselves up for failure because the execution, the act itself, the law itself was probably 60%, a number which didn't encourage anybody to bring back money. The execution of it was also not well laid out. What do you think?
Manisha, I think they knew all along that this
So you agree with Professor Gowda that it was a decoy, it was a whitewash?
They wanted to just politically manage it for a while, you know. So they just came up with that law, and I don't think anybody in BJP would have expected of that $500 billion, even 10% of that to have $50 billion also to have come.
It's not even 0.1%
yeah,
right now.
So. And when the final figures came, they were not even embarrassed. It almost seemed as if when you spoke to the government managers, they said, we knew that
This is likely to happen.
But I want to ask the government, in Parliament, Mr. Jaitley made a statement that criminal cases, Faujdari ke muqadme dair kiye gaye on those 635 accounts that you spoke about, HSB. What is happening to the, I mean, it has just gone down some memory hole. Nobody hears anything about that committee on black money. What have they found? What are they doing? Are they going to office every day? I don't know,
Okay. Mr. Gowda, what could they have done? You said the implementation itself was hugely lacking. You also have, large business leaders saying that this was bound to fail, and it was also very anti-big business. Is that an opinion you concur with?
Yeah, because it seems like you're going to go after companies who have accounts in different countries, some of the players may be NRIs technically, things like that. But really, there could be an underlying agenda here, which is once you bring this criminal charge, right, and you give discretion to the officials that they can go after anybody with the threat of criminal charges, then it gives the government a tremendous clout. You can shake down any industrialist you want, and that's and threaten them with jail. And so that's really the larger danger with this whole move. And I think the industrial class certainly realizes that they're very vulnerable to misuse and abuse of this particular provision.
Here, Manisha, one more thing I want to point out, taking from Mr. Gowda. It failed because there was a circular route already available, even those businesses which were in the wrong and did not want to use this window. Why would they pay 60% when they can simply bring the money through Mauritius?
That is what you've written in your article, that it's already probably come in. A lot of money has come in through FDI route.
Invest in stocks. Through Mauritius, you just pay a fee of 3-4%. Even if you invest directly after 1 year of capital gains, there's no capital gains. If you keep it for 1 year, it is tax-free. So why would they bring it through this 60% tax route? It was from ab initio, it was absurd. The whole framework was absurd. Therefore, I believe there was no seriousness about it in the first place.
There was no seriousness in the new Black Money Act introduced in 2015. It was a big hyperbole in last union budget. We'll come back and examine it a little bit more. Are we going to hear anything more this year in budget 2016? Or is the government just going to choose to ignore this issue completely? We are back in just a moment.